Welcome to Astana Times Now. I'm your host, Amir Haidar. In this broadcast, we'll look at Kazakhstan's recent toughening of punishment for serious crimes, the commissioning of the first stage of the Saraka gas pipeline, and the Year of the Volunteer in Kazakhstan, among other stories. Let's get started. Kazakh President Kassym-Jomart Tokayev signed a law that toughens punishments for serious crimes, including drunk driving, drug dealing, and sexual offenses.
Starting January 1st, sexual assault and rape are considered serious offenses rather than medium-gravity crimes, and crimes against the sexual integrity of minors are considered to be among the gravest of crimes. Driving under the influence of alcohol could now earn offenders up to 1 year in prison and the loss of their driving licenses for up to 10 years. Kazakhstan has also abolished the procedure of conciliation of parties. More than 1,000 rape cases were reported in Kazakhstan in 2019, but half of rape perpetrators avoided punishment due to conciliation of parties practices. The changes also increased the punishment for crimes against the sexual integrity of minors for a period from 20 years to life imprisonment. The country's NGOs and activists have for years demanded such revisions to the legislation.
According to Article 1 of the Kazakh Constitution, the highest values a person, his or her life, and rights and freedoms. And some of the most dangerous crimes are sexual crimes. In 2019, more than 1,000 rape cases were committed, and 15% of them were against minors. Despite a general decrease in rape cases, those committed against minors continue to occur, and of course, this generates negative reactions and concerns in society. More than 2.7 million residents of Kazakhstan's capital Nur-Sultan and the country's northern regions will now have greater access to natural gas, as Kazakhstan commissioned the first stage of the Saraka gas pipeline December 30th.
The 1,081-kilometer pipeline starts in Kızıldağ region and goes through Zhezkazgan, Karaganda and Temirtau to the Kazakh capital Nur-Sultan. The project was launched in December 2018. Its construction employed 2,000 people and involved 1,000 units of technical equipment. 200 jobs are expected to be created to operate the pipeline. Officials expect the pipeline will decrease harmful emissions caused by coal-fired and boiler plants by 35 tons per year. Coal usage is also expected to decrease by 650,000 tons.
The Asian Development Bank recently partnered with the Nur-Sultan City Administration to launch a clean technology project and install engine block heaters in the Kazakh capital.
Starting a vehicle on a cold winter day uses more fuel, emits greenhouse gases, and puts unnecessary wear and tear on the engine. The new engine block heaters installed in Nur-Sultan are meant to reduce this environmental impact and help preserve the nearly 350,000 vehicles registered in the city. The ADB is funding the installation of up to 100 engine block heaters and 53 electrical charging piles in the city. The new technology is expected to save more than 220 million liters of fuel and reduce carbon emissions in Nur-Sultan by 430,000 tons.
This clean technology can make a dramatic difference to improving the environment and the air we breathe here in Nur-Sultan and other cities of Kazakhstan. The technology is relatively simple and can be manufactured by local companies. We are working on the establishment of joint ventures between foreign companies and local companies to effectively produce technology transfer and create jobs. The application to cars is also relatively cheap, and people using it will save on fuel and will also reduce the emission of CO2 gases. This project, I think, is a great example of the benefits that clean technologies can bring to countries like Kazakhstan. It is a win-win situation for the economy and for the environment.
Kazakhstan has cancelled mandatory registration for foreign tourists staying in the country for 30 days or less.
Foreign citizens were previously required to register at a local migration office within 5 days of crossing the border. Tourists who intend to stay more than 30 days will need a temporary residency permit. The law now obliges the invitee to notify the migration office about the person's arrival within 3 working days. Notice can be made via the online visa and migration website by submitting an electronic notification. The cancellation of registration for short-term visitors comes a few months after the Kazakh president described the procedure as outdated and a source of corruption.
A new decade in Kazakhstan kicked off with 2020 being named Year of the Volunteer. volunteer organizations across the nation hope the designation will shine a spotlight on the work volunteers do.
During the year, activities will cover 7 areas and aim to develop volunteer infrastructure and increase citizens' participation in volunteer activities and corporate volunteer development. Kazakh volunteers also plan to increase international cooperation and help achieve the United Nations Global Sustainable Development Goals.
We want to achieve systematic support for volunteers, develop support measures for volunteer organizations, and devise new motivational approaches to increase the number of volunteers in Kazakhstan. We hope that small volunteer activities will outgrow their regional levels and turn into countrywide and even international activities. This is very important because Kazakhstan is very visible on an international scale, be it in Central Asia or the Commonwealth of Independent States. This year, 7 outstanding volunteers from Kazakhstan will travel overseas to participate in the United Nations Volunteer Program.
Thank you for watching Astana Times Now. Stay tuned and we'll see you next week with the latest in Kazakh news.